It is always great to start watching an anime that goes way beyond expectations. It feels like accidentally finding a treasure that you were not searching for. And for that, there is Musume Cinderella Grey. After 5 main Musume anime series, we now have Musume Cinderella Grey. It's the story about the horse Oguri Cap, who is a talented Uma starting off racing in the small town of Kasamatsu. Unlike the previous series, Cinderella Grey is an anime adaptation of the manga Musume Cinderella Grey, and this allowed the story to set a much better foundation in world building and character development. The world of Musume are all the same across all Musume media. In short, there is a living being in the world called Musume, aka horse girls, who are destined to run, and it mostly takes place in Japan. And that's pretty much it. There are some little details in the previous animes that show the world has designs for Musume, like the infamous long telephone and the Musume lanes on the road. But other than these, that is pretty much all for the Musume world. And the racing Umas goes to school for trainings. And correct me if I'm wrong, but in the past, the viewers have only been introduced to the Umas that takes in place in the national level races. So that is kind of all the Musume world ever had. It is only until Cinderella Grey that widens the world of Musume, with regional races being introduced, making a huge realization that, oh yeah, of course regional races exist. Why have I never thought about that before? Probably because I have zero knowledge about the real horse racing. It is like the fact that there are different levels of basketball games outside of NBA. The introduction of regional races creates a really interesting contrast between all the Umas from the previous series and the Umas in Cinderella Grey. As regional Umas, or Kasamatsu Umas in this case, they are introduced as level lower of Umas. So any Uma in the previous series theoretically are much stronger than any of the Kasamatsu Uma, which I thought was really interesting and never realized the strength of the Umas that appeared in the past series. And hence why Cinderella Grey has such an interesting start for the viewers that watch the previous anime series. It is exciting to see the journey of Oguri, starting to race in the regionals and climb up to the national level. Side note, there is more than one trace in school, which I thought was also very interesting. It is like, yeah right, of course there will be more than just one trace in school. Why would there only be one school for Uma trainings? Then let's move on to the story. The story started in Kasamatsu, and just like all the Musume stories, they share the same focus, which is to win the races. Cinderella Grey has a story with the feel of a standard shonen sports anime. And I'm not saying that to diss the story in any way, but rather I find it really interesting and really liking it. I think there's a shift in the modern anime and manga stories where many things have to be different from what the old anime and manga would do. And when this is handled well, it is handled well. But when it is not handled well, the whole story just becomes a complete disaster. Like a twist in the story that doesn't make sense, or just having a plot twist for the sake of plot twists. Cinderella Grey has a story of a standard shonen-ish sports manga anime feel. These kind of shonen stories are quite a new idea in terms of the stories that we have seen in Musume, where before, to a certain degree, it all just feels like anime school horse girls running races. Cinderella Grey really felt like the whole focus of the story is on the races, and the actions of each character actually contributes to something in the race. They train hard, they make strategies, and actually explains some facts during horse races. Most of the characters' actions are explained with logical reasons, and I think that is what the previous series was kind of lacking. I would say that Cinderella Grey doesn't have the most revolutionary stories out there in the world of manga or anime, but that doesn't change the fact that it is still a good story. With good storytelling, many simple stories on paper can become an extraordinary piece of art. And I think that's what Cinderella Grey has done really well. Now that the story is done, let's talk about the characters. Oguri Kappu, definitely one of the most likable protagonists. Talented, always keeping a straight face, has the stomach of a black hole, and being clumsy all around outside of races. Oguri is really well portrayed in Cinderella Grey. She has the motives to run, trains hard despite being extremely talented, and has attachment and feelings towards the people surrounding her. The clumsy personality creates many cute and funny moments while not appearing to be annoying. Just overall a really solid, likable character. Aside from Oguri, almost all of the characters in Cinderella Grey are likable as well. Many side characters don't even feel like a side character. Some can probably take over the spot of the main character, and the anime would still probably be great. Like Fujisama March, Dicta Striker, Tamano Cross, obviously, or Best Uma Beruno Light. Each character has a distinct personality, and it is easy to tell what kind of good character that they are just from a couple dialogues. Although one may argue that that is just a generic character traits, but I think it is a pretty good way to make many characters memorable. Even the Umas that only appeared for one race managed to build their characters within one-ish episodes, which brings back to the point of how well these side characters are portrayed. They don't appear to only have the sole purpose of adding character development to the main character, but actually feel like they are characters with their own goals and purpose. So now let's look at the obvious, the animation. I'm not gonna pretend that I'm some kind of animation expert, but I'm going to say that the animation for Cinderella Grey is great. Each race has smooth animations and cool cuts. The spurt effects are really cool, and each Uma has their own unique effects. My favorite part is whenever Oguri starts her spurt, absolute goosebump every time it happens. Solid 10 out of 10 animations. Now, as for sound, I think the sounds and musics are great too. I'm not some kind of sound expert, so I can't really explain why each sound is good, but I think they were pretty great. And if casual viewers like me think it's great, then I would say that it is probably pretty great. There is one soundtrack during the race that I really like, and I don't know if I can play it here. But anyways, Uma Musume Cinderella Grey anime is one heck of a great anime, not just for the Uma Musume fans, but for all anime enjoyers. Great characters with good stories, cool and smooth animation throughout the entire series. It is a great anime even if you don't know anything about Uma Musume. Cinderella Grey might just be the best Uma Musume anime of all time at this moment. It is just great. Did I mention it is great? I think I mentioned that it is great. Thanks for watching. Have fun. Bye bye.